What is going on, everybody? Brent's Bricks back here with another video, and today we are reviewing Lego set. You hear that? Where's that coming from? Here's where it's coming from. We are reviewing Lego set 10292, the Friends television series Apartments. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta say, when we first got the Friends Central Perk coffee shop set, I was not a fan of Friends. When I first bought Central Perk, I hadn't watched the whole show yet, and when I finally finished watching the entire series, building that set is one of the first things I did. Before I even finished watching the show, I could just tell that this was a great set. And then, of course, after watching the show, building this set was an absolute joy. So after Lego had Central Perk on the shelves for a little bit of time, there was a lot of speculation on what we would get next, if we would even get another Friends set at all. There was a lot of talk and speculation about Monica's apartment. Then, of course, some people speculated Joey's apartment. And because Lego is so awesome, they said, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. We know you love Friends as much as you do, so we're just going to give you both apartments in one massive set. Still, just looking at the size of this thing, I mean, you get big Star Wars sets, you get big Harry Potter sets, big Disney sets, big Ninjago sets. I never would have thought that there was going to be a Friends set that was over 2,000 pieces. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to stop talking about this thing and just build it. And I'll see you guys when I have it all done. Let's go ahead and jump right into the time lapse. Alright guys, so taking a quick break from the time lapse, I just wanted to show you something super cool about this set that you won't see when it is all completed. So what you have here is a little hidden Easter egg inside of the floor, and it is the logo dots. By the logo dots, I mean the dots that are in between the letters of the logo. You can see them on my shirt there as well, and also on the coffee mug. So I just thought that was a really, really cool feature that doesn't have to be there, but it's just a really nice Easter egg. There is also one in Joey's apartment, but these aren't really easy to get to without taking a lot of stuff apart. I'll go ahead and find it in the instruction booklet for you. And here in the instruction booklet, you can see the other spot in the floor of Joey's apartment where you have the dots again. Very, very cool stuff. Anyways, back to the time lapse. Alright guys, so before we take a closer look at the entire set here, I just wanted to say I don't want to really go into a deep dive on every single little Easter egg throughout here because I don't want to spoil the show for you if you have not seen it yourself. When I bought Central Perk for the first time, I had not watched the show, and I made sure that I would finish watching the show before I built the set. That way I could really appreciate all the little Easter eggs throughout the set. And also things throughout the show were not spoiled for me. I remember watching a review done by Boone Builds from Lego Masters Season 1 when he was talking about Central Perk, and he was able to review it while not really spoiling any important things that happen in the show. For example, the closet back here, throughout the entire duration of the show, I think all the way up until like some of the later seasons, maybe season 8 or something like that, everybody always wonders what is in this closet. Monica even keeps this closet locked. Now, what I think is really, really cool is that they could have just left this closet empty. And I actually did think they were going to leave it empty throughout the building process, but in the end, they give you something to put in there. But if I were just to tell you, that would just spoil something that you wait seasons on seasons on seasons to finally find out what it is. So I just wanted to clarify real quick. I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as I possibly can. If you do want to see a video where I break down all of the Easter eggs throughout the entire set, definitely comment down below if you want to, but I think in this first general review, I just want to try to stay as spoiler-free as I can. I just know I am super thankful that when I watched Boone's review of Central Perk and he didn't spoil anything for the show and I had not seen it yet, so super thankful for that. So if you haven't seen Friends, please watch Friends before you get this set. Alright guys, so starting off with the minifigures, we are just going to go in the order that you build each minifigure throughout the set. And the first minifigure you build is Joey Tribbiani. This version of Joey Tribbiani is from Season 3, Episode 2, the one where no one's ready. I'm definitely super happy to see this version of Joey. I absolutely love that episode. In that episode, Joey gets a little frustrated with how long everybody is taking to get ready. And because of that, he goes back to him and Chandler's apartment and puts on everything that Chandler owns. And from that episode, we get this amazing quote.
Look at me! I'm Chandler. Could I be wearing any more clothes?
I love this minifigure, but the only thing I would change is I would do some side leg printing. I feel like this figure would really be a lot better with some side printing right there. I feel like that would just really complete the character, because from the side, the torso looks good because he's wearing a Letterman jacket. And then of course we've got the back printing on the back. So I just feel like side leg printing would have gone such a long way on this figure. But other than the side leg printing not being there, I feel like this figure is perfect. And of course, around to the back, we have an alternate facial expression. Next on the list, we have Chandler Bing. This version of Chandler Bing comes from Season 4, Episode 2, the one with the cat. We have a fantastic brand new alternate facial expression for Chandler Bing. You've got that signature Chandler laugh, probably laughing at one of his own jokes. And other than that alternative facial expression, nothing too special going on here. We've got that nice business attire from Chandler, some khakis, and then a little bit of printing around to the back. All in all, a very solid new version of Chandler Bing. The next figure you build in this set is none other than Janice. This specific version of Janice comes from Season 7, Episode 7, the one with Ross's library book. In that episode, Janice invites herself to a certain wedding, but I'm not going to say whose wedding because I'm going to try to stay as spoiler-free in this review as I can. But all in all, this Janice is fantastic. The torso print is perfect. The nice gold legs are amazing. And also we have some nice printing going around to the back as well. The hairpiece is a dark brown Bellatrix hairpiece, and I feel like that works perfect here. She's got her signature "oh my god" face. And then her alternate facial expression is her signature laugh that everybody loves so much.
Kill me now.
All in all, there is nothing more I can ask for in a Janice minifigure. I think this is absolutely perfect. The next minifigure you build in this set is Rachel Green. This specific version of Rachel Green comes from Season 1, Episode 9, the one where the monkey gets away. Definitely an iconic Rachel Green look. She has some really nice side leg printing going on, but you see how good that looks and how complete that makes that figure. If they were just to add that same side printing to Joey here, I feel like that would really complete it. As a matter of fact, I feel like Rachel here could have lived without the side printing, and then they could have just given that side printing to Joey. But I guess every minifigure can't be perfect. Rachel does have a nice coffee cup as her accessory there, so that looks very nice. A bit of printing around to the back of the torso as well. And then of course Rachel has an alternate facial expression around to the back. All in all, a great Rachel Green minifig. Definitely a good switch up from the last version that we got of her in the Central Perk set. And then of course the next minifigure we are going to look at is Ross Geller. This specific version of Ross Geller comes from one of my favorite episodes, Season 5, Episode 11, the one with all the resolutions. In this episode, Ross gets himself some new leather pants that he is very proud to show off to everybody. Around to the back of the torso, we do have some nice printing back there. And then, of course, Ross's alternate facial expression is his signature worried expression. And this facial expression right here being the new print, this one is awesome. He just looks super uncomfortable. Classic Ross. I think Lego does a fantastic job at really nailing the Ross Geller facial expression. Moving along, we have Ross's sister, Monica Geller. This version of Monica Geller comes from Season 7, Episode 9, the one with all the candy. So if you're unfamiliar with Friends, Monica is a fantastic chef, and she also is really, really good at making candy. So a very nice new outfit for Monica. Around the back of the torso, we have some great printing back there as well. And for her alternate facial expression, it is absolutely perfect. Very, very Monica-esque. All in all, a fantastic Monica Geller minifigure, and there's really nothing much more I can ask for here. And last but certainly not least, Phoebe Buffay.
Miss Phoebe Buffay. Woo! Thanks. Hi.
This version of Phoebes is from Season 6, Episode 7, the one where Phoebe runs. So as you can see here, Phoebe has her athletic wear on, looking very, very spiffy. Not really sure why they give her a paintbrush. Maybe it's because some of her artwork is included in the set, and we will take a good look at that later. Also, this hairpiece is a recolored Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas hairpiece, so it's nice to get that in a blonde color. And if we flip that hairpiece around, we will see some printing on the back of the torso and her original alternate facial expression. I don't believe there is a new facial print for Phoebe in this set specifically, but all in all, this is a very, very solid Phoebes. And that is going to do it for all of the minifigures. Let's go ahead and take a look at both of the apartments. Alright guys, so the first apartment we will go ahead and take a look at is Joey and Chandler's. Maybe slightly less iconic than Monica and Rachel's apartment, but to be honest, I still love Joey and Chandler's apartment just as much. A lot of great moments in the show happen here as well. Like I said, I don't want to go too deep into the details and spoil things for you if you haven't seen the show, but we are going to take a look at some of the features and some of the details of the apartment. We will go ahead and start with the dry erase board on the inside of the door. A lot of funny messages and jokes written on that throughout the series. There is 2 other stickers you can actually choose from to put on there, and I guess if you wanted to, you can put these stickers on the other sides of these doors so you can swap them out if you wanted to. You wanted to! Grab a brush and put a little makeup! You wanted to! Undiscuss the painter with the shake-up! You wanted to! However, I went with the Went to Central Perk sign because I feel like that's just the most iconic. Moving over to the right of that, we have the little notes board they have hanging up. There's a little call me post-it note and then a little AW over here, and that's actually the initials for the designer of the set. Then of course we have an Emily note right there, one of the other side characters of the show. Now it's really small and kind of hard to see, but we have the 555 pizza number up there. And then just a couple of other miscellaneous pictures and notes there. If we go ahead and pull this book off of the desk there, we have a nice printed piece on the inside with a V logo on it. That is from an episode when Joey buys an encyclopedia, but it's just all words starting with the letter V. And like I said, I didn't want to get too spoilery, so I'm not going to talk too much about all the details in here. Another feature in this area I really, really love is this foosball table. Another thing that I really, really love is that the fact that there's 2 studs and then a couple flat tiles, so you can remove and reinstall this table super, super easy. You can take it out if you'd want to use it in a mock or anything like that. The foosball table being a really, really nice build. I'm such a fan of small, simple Lego builds, but it's more of like a less is more thing, if you will. The nano figures look super, super good in there, and it's a perfect representation of the foosball table from the show. And this big canoe here, well, let's just say that's important. If we take a closer look in the kitchen, we have a milk carton right there, and I believe that's referencing when Joey tries to say that he can chug a whole carton of milk in like 10 seconds or something. Then of course we have a bunch of miscellaneous jars and bottles up here on top of the fridge, and a really nice little fridge design, as I might add. However, you can't remove it. It's sort of built into the wall. Also, right above the fridge, we have a super awesome poster of Manhattan. I believe that is there throughout the entire duration of the show, so a super essential poster to have. We've got some very nice cabinets above the stove and everything, but however, they don't open, but they look nice. The stove design is really nice. This little door can swing open. The sink design is really cool. It's sort of a weird modified brick, but it works out perfectly for a little sink. Got a great little microwave build there with a coffee mug on top. And then of course the counter alone is a staple of Joey and Chandler's apartment. Then if we go ahead and move over to the rest of the apartment, yeah, there are no bedrooms, but if there were bedrooms, it would have really driven up the cost on the set even more. I will go ahead and pull off the entertainment center here. A really, really nice little build. You can almost close it if you just remove these pieces and move them a stud over, but you still are left with a gap, but from an angle, it still looks like it's closed. However, I don't think that was an intended feature, but the overall build of this thing is just awesome. It just reminds me of all the old TV stands in the 90s. I like that you can pop out this TV build relatively easy because it's just on kind of a double jumper plate. The sticker they use on here is Joey playing his role as Dr. Drake Ramore in Days of Our Lives, a TV show that Joey appears in quite often throughout the whole series. And I love this TV. Again, it reminds me of all the big boxy TVs back in the 90s and early 2000s. And then of course you got what is probably a cable box and a large VHS player. And that's another thing I love about this set and Central Perk and all these sets are these little builds, or most of them, are all removable. You could easily take that out and drop it right into a mock. Speaking of removable features, you can take this whole entire carpet piece out where they have their lazy boy chairs. And I really, really love that you can remove certain things of these sets, because if you want to display something small in like an office area or something, and you don't want to just take this whole set and display it on your desk or whatever, you can just display this as like a small little conversation piece. If anyone is a fan of Friends and they see these, they're going to instantly know. And it's just a nice, cute little thing to have on display on a desk or something. And within this build, there is a little play feature, if you will. If you have seen the show or you've just seen the intros to the show, you know the iconic recline back at once thing that Chandler and Joey do.
Do we dare?
We dare.
Just a super, super cool feature. I absolutely love this. And of course, I can't forget Joey and Chandler's pets, the chicken and the duck. Of course, we also have some Legoized posters. There's another one way back here in the corner by the iconic dog statue. And then there's another one back there by the dartboard. Super awesome little couch build. Another thing that can just be easily removed from the set and just dropped right into any kind of mock. Try to elevate the camera to get you guys a better look back here. But you also have, of course, a pizza box because Joey loves pizza. And then just a basic little newspaper. And if you take off those tiles, again, just another little nice small furniture build. You've got some transparent blue tiles to make up the glass table, but a couple of them are studs. That way you can add in some items on the table and they're not just gonna go sliding off if you move the set around. All in all, an excellent representation of Joey and Chandler's apartment. Also, it is worth mentioning these little TV set lights. These are also on the Central Perk set. They can very, very easily be removed if you're not a big fan of them. However, I mean, it's a TV set, so I feel like they are appropriate. And that basically covers everything for Joey and Chandler's apartment. Let's go ahead and move on to Monica's apartment. All right, and before we move on to Monica and Rachel's apartment, we gotta take a look at the hallway. I just have Janice in there for reference, just to show you how a minifigure would look in there. I absolutely love that they still put a reference even in just the hallway with the cheesecake on the ground. If we go ahead and remove Janice, there is a sticker back here to show some blinds on the window. So this is a pretty good representation of the hallway, and I say pretty good because as you can even see here, even on this straight on angle, like you still see that there's just this missing space right here. Yes, from this angle with the other apartment attached, it looks good, but if you open the door from the other apartment, I mean, you just see so much empty space back there. If they just built the floor out just a little more and added in one more wall, I think it really would have made the hallway look a lot better. But it is a little bit ridiculous to critique the hallway. I mean, I'm just glad they included it. But I mean, I guess they kind of had to because it does connect to the apartments. Whatever. Let's go ahead and look at Monica and Rachel's apartment. All right, and on to the iconic Monica and Rachel's apartment. This apartment is not only iconic to the TV show itself, but this is just an iconic piece of just TV show history. Not only is it a great looking TV set, but it is just an awesome looking apartment in general. I guarantee you there is just a ton of people that are modeling their living rooms and apartments to try to look exactly like this. I mean, there is a reason why this set is so iconic. From the purple walls to the yellow curtains to the yellow cabinets and the light blue shelves and everything in the kitchen. I mean, just a beautiful looking apartment. Before we get into the rest of the details of the apartment, I just wanted to point out that this set does indeed come with Gladys. The iconic piece of art that is made by Mrs. Phoebe Buffet. This painting slash sculpture is something that Phoebe uses to creep out the rest of the crew. And I love that the face print on there is faded because it's supposed to be an old raggedy doll. And they add in a black stud under the hairpiece to just make it look even more raggedy and creepy. Setting that off to the side, we will go ahead and look at the rest of the apartment. Now, the first thing I do want to point out is the iconic beam that goes across here. And I'm actually glad that this isn't like built into the floor or anything like that, because this beam gets removed in like the second season, because they originally put it there to show the depth of the TV set, but it just kept getting in the camera shots. The beam was originally put there to kind of add some depth in the apartment. As the camera would pan past the apartment, the beam would go past the shot, and it would just kind of help show the depth of the apartment. And while that was a cool little iconic part of the apartment, it was later removed in the, I want to say, second or third season. I could be wrong. But to make it easy on the cameramen, it was eventually removed relatively early in the series. And I think that's really, really great that you can remove it relatively easy. If you want it to be a later season Monica's apartment, you can. If you're going for really an OG look, you just add it back on and voila, there you go. Oops, I actually had it off by one stud. There we go. And speaking of this thing being in the way when they were filming the show, I'm gonna go ahead and just remove that for the rest of this review so we can actually see in there. So, starting off with the iconic door. I do kind of wish they went the extra mile to print that on there, because I mean, that is literally one of the most iconic pieces of this entire apartment. It doesn't bother me that bad, but I mean, you really can tell there's a sticker there. I mean, this is printed, and I mean, I literally didn't even know it was printed until I pulled it off the wall. I mean, they could have gotten away with the sticker there. But anyways, moving along here, we have a couple of pizza boxes stacked up there. We got a couple books or something down there on that shelf. And then the flower bouquet right here is, I believe, a reference to the designer of the set, because it is actually the same designer that designed the flower bouquet. Another super awesome set that I have reviewed on the channel, so if you'd like to see my opinion on that flower bouquet, go ahead and check that out. I love that they throw the turkey in here because it reminds me of the episode when Monica actually isn't going to have a turkey for Thanksgiving and Joey loses his mind. And the rest of the kitchen just looks absolutely amazing. I was a little bit worried that they weren't going to be able to get in all the details of the kitchen with kind of a smaller scale. I remember seeing a picture of a mock someone made of the whole kitchen area, and obviously it wasn't on this small play scale, but it just looked fantastic. But I gotta say, even with this small scale, I think the kitchen looks great. I love the textured bricks along the back to add in the brick wall detail. We have another really good refrigerator design. I believe that is a microwave next to it there. Got a couple of nice plants in the kitchen. Moving along to the rest of the apartment here, you have the doors to go into each bedrooms that aren't there, because again, if they would have put the bedrooms in on these sets, it just would have driven up the cost more. But nonetheless, it's nothing you couldn't fairly easily add on back here. But the iconic living room area looks absolutely fantastic. Again, we got another one of these boxy TV designs. I really, really love those TVs. Moving along to the rest of the furniture here, this whole carpet area can actually be pulled out. And again, if you had a small office desk or something and you wanted to just display something small, here you go. You can add in a couple of the minifigures there, and voila, you got a small, oh, okay. And then voila, you got a nice little small display piece you can fit in a small desk or something. All of the builds in the main living room area here are awesome. You've got a super nice coffee table here. You've got the iconic, comfortable chair that Joey and Chandler fight over. And then this right here is also easily removable. Nice little couch build that you can just drop into any mock. And I absolutely love how they have these cushions on there. This is just a little clear modified stud piece that they use for the DC superheroes and stuff. So a very, very clever way to display those cushions. Of course, right here on the end table, you have Monica's little contacts notebook. Do you remember when people used to write down each other's numbers? Yeah, I know, right? People actually did that. Oh, and I did want to mention the sticker for this TV just says Go Sports, and that's actually really good because that could be soccer, that could be football, that could be rugby. There's a couple of moments in the show where they're either watching football on Thanksgiving or Ross is trying to watch rugby to impress a certain girl. Moving on to the back of the apartment, there is a nice little reading nook, and this whole assembly can actually be pulled out, so you have another nice little carpeted piece with a little kind of desk reading area, and then that just drops right back into there relatively easy. Then of course this door right here would normally go to where their bathroom is, but again, just like the bedrooms, if they added all of that stuff, it just would have driven up the cost even more. And then while we're back here, we can go ahead and swing around to the sort of balcony area. There's a word for what this is, and I can't think of it, but this is essentially a balcony. I feel really stupid for not knowing what the actual term is for this thing, but it's a balcony. Another thing I love about this area is this window here is built on these little hinge pieces to provide you with this angle to the window. They could have very easily left this on a straight angle, and I'm sure not a lot of people would have complained. But to get that iconic angle in there with that window really makes it look so much better. I feel like I've used the word iconic a lot in this review, but what can I say? This is a very iconic TV set. And then also in here is the giant poking device. Again, another reference, but I don't want to go and spoil everything for you. And also, this cat here is another reference to something that happens out here on this balcony. Also, the build for the fireplace is really nice. I like the use of these black hot dog pieces. A couple more details that I did skip over are the drama masks back here. I believe those are on the wall for the entire duration of the show. As well as, look at that beam getting in the way again. As well as the poster behind the TV. I actually love that this beam is getting in the way of the shots for this review, because that just goes to show you it was getting in the way in real life, and now it's getting in the way of this review. Alright guys, so that pretty much wraps it up for everything with Monica's apartment. Again, I don't want to get too deep into all the details and spoil some stuff for you if you've never seen the show. Alright guys, with all that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to the final opinion. Before we get into the final opinion, I do want to point out the instruction booklet here. I do really love this front cover. And as you flip through the book, there are nice little tidbits about certain features of the set. And another great thing about these instructions is there's also little tidbits to the references throughout the build. Makes for a super nice little building experience. Also, the box has that classic 18 style box art. And I really love the side there, kind of having photographs of all the minifigures. Alright guys, so in terms of the value for this set, $150, just a little bit over 2,000 pieces, and 7 minifigures. That's not terrible, but when you look at Central Perk is a $60 set, and you get 1,070 pieces and 7 minifigures. The same amount of minifigures in this $150 set. So you can then kind of see where I'm getting to in terms of the value for this thing. I absolutely love this set. I mean, this is a top 10 set of all time, maybe even top 5 set of all time for me. But in terms of the value for this set and how it's been selling, it gets a little bit interesting, especially talking about Central Perk. Last time I checked, this set was still available on Lego.com, like not even back ordered. However, Central Perk has completely sold out on Lego.com. A set that came out like 2 years ago. So it's almost like a lot of fans of Friends that noticed this set but didn't know there was Central Perk just opted to go for Central Perk, because to be honest, if I didn't have either one of these sets, I'm probably going to get Central Perk first. Which brings me to my next point of, if Central Perk is $60 and this is $150, I mean, you could kind of break this up into a $60 set, $60 set, but at the same time, there's still only 7 minifigures, so if you split those up, you'd get, what, 4 minifigures here and 3 here? So maybe this set would have been a little bit better of a seller at like 130? And then that brings me to my next point of the fact that they should have sold these separately. I mean, I love that they gave us both apartments at the same time, but you still could have given us both apartments at the same time in separate sets. In my opinion, if they would have sold these just like they sold Central Perk, $60, $60, you could have had 2 different versions of the entire cast. You could have had the main 6 characters here, the main 6 characters here. You still can include Janice in your set over here to make 7 figures. And then with the other versions of the cast over here, you could have included any other side character. I mean, there's tons they could have chosen. So in terms of my grade for this set, I absolutely love it. It might be just a little bit overpriced in the fact that I feel like they could have sold these separately and we could have gotten more minifigures. I'm gonna go with a 9.2. I was gonna go 9.5, but I feel like I'm more comfortable with 9.2. I just feel like they really should have sold these separately. Not only would it make these sets a better value, but we would have gotten more minifigures. $60 for Central Perk. $60 for this and 7 minifigures. $60 for this and 7 minifigures. I still think on release day, like, people are still gonna buy both of these. I mean, you wouldn't want one without the other. You very well could argue the point that this set is way more iconic than this set, so this one would sell more than this. But I'm a Lego fan. I know how Lego fans are. If there was exclusive minifigures to both sets, people are gonna buy both sets. Trust me. People are out there buying $40 AATs just for Ahsoka. But out of this entire set, those are my only 2 complaints. Maybe just a little bit too expensive, and the missed opportunity to sell both of these separately. That way they could have made more minifigures. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's still a solid 9.2. It's definitely a top 10, even possibly top 5 set for me. And if you are a fan of Friends, this is a must buy, especially if you already have Central Perk. I almost want to bring my Central Perk set over here, but I think I'm going to save that for a comparison video. So you can be expecting a comparison of this set and the Central Perk set very soon, possibly even the next video. Alright guys, that is going to wrap it up for this review. Again, thank you all so much for liking, commenting, subscribing. You all are amazing. As always, this has been Brent's Bricks, and remember, never stop... No. It's never stop building. Never stop... Seriously, who's doing that? I gotta restart the outro. Again, guys, thank you all so much for liking, commenting, subscribing. You all are amazing. As always, this has been Brent's Bricks, and remember, never stop building.